Hello, I'm Chuck Reininger, owner and founder of Reininger Winery, and I'm here with Brad Korte. He's our tasting room manager here at Reininger Winery, and we're here to introduce our Helix at Home tasting kit. So we founded Reininger Winery in 1997, and Reininger focuses exclusively on Walla Valley fruit. We also, in 2002, started our Helix wine label, which focuses on Columbia Valley wines, which you'll be tasting here today with your kit. So Brad, you want to take it away?
Sure. Yeah. So as Chuck alluded to,
here.
today we're going to talk to you guys about these Helix at Home tasting kits. These are great. We've been working on these for a while now, and I'm really excited that you guys are participating in these with us. So you're going to get 5 wines in these today, and accompanied with these 5 wines are going to be a tasting card for you to follow along with. And the wines that we're going to do today are a Viognier from Stillwater Creek. We're going to go then to Sangiovese, also from Stillwater Creek. Then we're going to do a Merlot from the Columbia Valley. We're going to go to our red blend, which we call Pomasha. And then we're going to finalize that wine with Cabernet Sauvignon. Now, to accompany this, we've also put together some instructions that we posted to our Helix website. And I really do encourage you to go online and to download those. And they're going to come with a tasting grid as well. For any of you familiar with this, really the only thing that we're here to do is to help kind of guide the conversation a little bit. It's going to give you some of the aromas that we picked up, some of the flavors that we picked up, and give you a way to kind of get engaged with it, as if you were here in the tasting room with us. This is often how I'm doing with people in the tasting room here. So we've got our tasting grid, and then for anybody who doesn't know or hasn't gone through wine tasting, or if you just could use a refresher, we've also summarized some just instructions on how to go through and taste wine, how to look at it, how to smell it, how to taste it, how to feel it, just so that you can become intimately familiar with the wines that we do. On that note, we're going to go ahead and jump into the tasting. So like I said, we're going to start off with our 2019 Viognier. This one's from Stillwater Creek Vineyard. And I'm going to pour some wine here for Chuck and I. And Chuck, you want to talk us through a little bit of what you smell here and what you got going on with this wine?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, when we start off tasting wine, the first thing that we want to look at is the color of the wine. And the color can tell us several different things. One, it might give us an idea of how old the wine is. If it's a little darker, more golden color to it, perhaps it's been in the barrel or picked up actually a little wood color from the barrel. If it's nice and bright and clear, such as this, well, this indicates that this has actually perhaps been done in stainless steel, which this one does. So the color can tell us many things. And also we look for the clarity of the wine. Is it cloudy at all? Or is it nice and bright, such as this one? So those are types of things that we look at. And gosh, this is getting now. So the next thing that we do after looking and observing the color is we take note of the nose or the scents, the aromas. And this, oh gosh, this has beautiful, beautiful notes. I get, first thing that's happening, I'm really getting, this time around, I'm getting a lot of honeysuckle on this. Maybe a hint of pineapple, but also tangerine and some real wonderful mineral notes on this. So again, the reason for the stainless steel fermentation is to show off the varietal character of the grape itself, and not what we as winemakers here at the winery can add to the wine. Boy. All right, so when I taste the wine, what am I looking for? I'm looking for flavors, obviously. I'm looking for texture. I'm looking for tannin structure and acidity. We're not going to get so much tannin structure in this, although Viognier does have a tendency to have a tiny bit of a bitter note on the finish of it, and that can be due to a little bit of tannin, what tannin it does have in the wine itself. But boy, I'm getting some really beautiful orange zest on this. So gosh, again, that mineral character that comes from the vineyard itself, actually. Real nice, beautiful orchard blossom going on in this. Just reminds me of springtime. Nectarine and a little bit of peach. So speaking of which, I think this is just a peach of a Viognier, man. So, but again, listen to yourself. What can you find in this? Brad, do you have any
You know what,
other
for
notes
me?
going on this?
On the nose, I agree with the rosebuds. The honeysuckle is very dominant. For me, it's also the tangerine, the orange, that citrus note really comes up there with a little bit of a darker complexity to it. Some of the other lighter wines that you might find. Pineapple, yeah, it's that bright little bit of acid comes in there. On the palate, again, everybody's going to be a little different. Don't be discouraged if you don't pick up on these notes. This is just something that comes with practice. And if you like the wine, you like the wine. Yeah. And the way that you made this wine, I mean, everything that I tasted in it, I think this is going to go great with any Asian foods that you're going to get. Anything spicy, if you got some Thai food in there, really just trying to balance it out with some of that. These really light notes that you're going to get where the citrus just comes right through. Yep. So the next wine that we're going to go through on this is the first of the red wines that we're going to be tasting through. Sangiovese, not a ton of it in Washington State. It's an Italian varietal, very popular over there. Really dynamic grape. It's a little bit on the lighter side when you make it into wine, which is something that we cherish. You get a lot of subtle notes to it. Light red color on this one, not overly dark, not overly tannic. Usually consumed a little bit on the younger side. And so coming into it, yeah, it's light, it's fruity. I get a lot of cherry, plum, herbaceousness, some of the baking spice kind of thing going on.
And sometimes actually, I get a little bit of a hint of potpourri, a light hint of potpourri in there, floral aspects of it. And definitely the plum. Sometimes I get, with this wine, I'll get some sun-dried tomato going on with this. And a little bit of graphite, mineral character to it. And also sometimes get a little beef carpaccio in there, kind of a little fleshiness to it.
And don't at all be discouraged if you're not picking up on some of the notes that we do. This is just what we've been tasting. And the longer you do it, the better you're going to be. So never get discouraged at it. It all comes with practice, and it's at home for you. It's what you want to do.
And that's the whole point. Practice makes you much better at observing. So the practice of observation allows you to pull these things out much easier. And just as you're eating other foods, or you're on a hike, take in the sense, try to create this scent and taste library, and really make a point to remember them. And that way you can pull them out of your memory much easier.
Definitely. And just a little bit more about the Sangiovese. This one's from Stillwater Creek Vineyard, which is in the Columbia Valley. We love sourcing from them. It's a warmer vineyard site. We've got lots of great minerals in the soil, and the fruit is going to kind of showcase that one. Not a lot of new oak on this one. You want to talk a little bit about the winemaking here?
Yeah, this Sangiovese is what I call an oak sponge. So we have to be very judicious on how much oak we put on this. And so with this Sangiovese, there really isn't any new oak at all on it. And it's just a real beautiful wine that we really try to let Mother Nature take over and show off what she has. So there's some, in the nose also, every once in a while I'll get a little bit of sour cherry going on in there. But
yeah, Sangiovese.
Yeah. So the next wine that we're tasting is our 2017 Helix Merlot. This Merlot is sourced from two different vineyards, from Stillwater Creek Vineyard, which is the same as the Viognier, the Sangiovese, but there's also some Bacchus Vineyard in this, which is just north of Pasco, and there's 3% Cabernet Sauvignon from Vinny Hill Vineyard. Boy, and it has a real nice, beautiful, dark ruby color going on in this. Again, there's clarity, so I'm not worried about any microbial issues in here, just because it is so bright and clear. And and the nose, wow. The nose is wonderful. I get this really beautiful black cherry notes going on in there, some plum, a little bit of black currant, and a hint of cassis going on there. And sometimes a little bit of chocolate. I know that, Dorian, our cellar master, he always seems to pick up a little bit of anise in there, kind of a hint of licorice. But one thing about Merlot that's I think is really important is, one, it can often be confused with Cabernet Sauvignon, but there really are two fantastic places on this earth to grow Merlot, and that is the right bank of Bordeaux, and the other is the Columbia Valley here Eastern Washington. So, man.
Yeah, the spices definitely stick out to me as well. The anise, just that little hint of it, a little licorice. The dark cherry is the thing that sticks to the forefront for me. Drastically different than that Sangiovese. Drastically different.
I'm trying to remember how much oak we put on this. So anyway, this is 100% American oak, and it's just about a quarter or 24% new American oak on here.
And when we say oak, we're referring to the barrels that we're putting the wine in. So about a quarter of the barrels that we use on this Bordeaux blend is going to be brand new, used for the first time.
Right, exactly. So, but on the mouth, again, we get that real nice black cherry. I actually get a little bit of raspberry going on in this too.
Right?
And a little hint of dark roasted coffee going on in there in the mouth. But nice, I think just really nice soft palate
Soft is the
going
right
on there.
word. Soft for sure.
Pushing in the little bit of silkiness in there, a little plushness going on.
I really love that silky finish. Just kind of rides the palate out. Not overly tannic. It doesn't leave your tongue just cloying and super dry like that. It just goes down velvety, and that's the intent with a lot of the Helix wines that we're going to do. They're drinkable. That's the name of the game for the winemaking that we're doing here.
And the acidity on this really kind of surprises me a little bit too. It has a really nice acidity. So again, that helps make it a nice food wine, but the acidity helps to lift the flavors up a little bit and bring a little liveliness to the wine itself.
Yeah, definitely.
So the next wine on our list is our 2016 Helix Pomasha. Pomasha is a fun all-around, what I call my Tuesday evening wine or Wednesday evening wine, any day of the week wine. So when you come home from work, although, boy, don't we wish we were coming home from work these days, but it's you just don't feel like, you feel like cooking up something fast and pulling out a really wonderful bottle of wine that you didn't have to pay an arm and a leg for. So that best describes Pomasha and the whole philosophy behind it. But this wine is Cabernet Sauvignon in it, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, some Syrah, and also some Sangiovese. Typically, it's usually a Bordeaux blend with a little bit of Syrah in it. The reason why we put some Sangiovese in it this year is because we wanted to up the acidity a tiny bit in this wine, give it a little more liveliness to it, and also to help make it a little more food friendly. Excuse me. First thing that really comes to my attention in this is this kind of the wild berry notes in this. So wild mountain berry notes. Just when I'm out hiking in the mountains, I'll come across wild strawberries or huckleberries and blueberries, and just kind of a whole mixture of them. And that's what it really reminds me of. Tiny bit of new wood spice on it. There's not a lot of oak on this.
Sure.
So there's only about 10% new oak on it. Again, we're just really trying to flush out the fruit and really show off what Mother Nature.
Yeah, but the wood does add a supporting background to it. Not overly done, but enhances the flavor, adds kind of some depth to it.
Just a tiny bit. And but on the palate, I'm getting some really nice brambly fruit on there. So a little bit of blackberry and raspberry happening, some huckleberry, and I get some really nice cherry notes on here too.
Sure.
And a little bit of plum and pomegranate. So it's a real versatile wine. I think it's a wine that can be enjoyed on its own, but also with a great array of things.
Yeah, here in the tasting room, we sell this wine as much as anything else. It's a very versatile wine. The price point, as Chuck mentioned, is very affordable. And it goes with food, like a lot of the wines we do. That blend, oh my gosh, it just goes with everything. And you don't feel guilty about opening it. Next wine that we're going to taste for you today is the 2017 Helix Cab Sauv. This one comes from Finney Hill, and then we buy the Merlot from Bacchus Vineyard. So Horsehaven Hills in large part. medium heat vineyard site out there. It's only about 50 miles west of Walla here, just north of Richland. So you pass through on the way out. Been pulling cab here for a while now. Really enjoy that block.
Yeah, it's a real fun vineyard. Some fun things about Cabernet Sauvignon. It's actually the son. It's actually a very noble grape, but Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc is a white wine, so just a fun little interesting fact there. The nose, I get a lot of. In the past, I've gotten a little bit more black currant, but it's just really black cherry.
Sure, dark right now on the nose, absolutely.
Hitting me, it's hard in the nose here.
Mm-hmm.
So nice cherry notes, a little bit of kind of hints of some baking spice coming from the oak.
Sure.
That could be the oak spice in there.
Almost herbal.
And I have a little bit of herbal notes in there, which is very typical actually of Cabernet Sauvignon. So Cabernet Sauvignon has some really its varietal character.
Mm-hmm.
Does emphasize sometimes some little herbaceousness to it.
Sure.
So, but yeah, it's got beautiful dark garnet color to it. And again, bright and clear.
Palate matches the aroma in large part to me. Dark, a little bit of baking spices. Cherry is dominant for me.
Yep. And I get a little bit of baked plum going on in there. But it also has a real nice dark fruit finish. And the tannins kind of move from mid-palate a little further back for me. But it's also, I think the tannins in this are really starting to soften.
Really soft.
So as red wines age, the tannin structure will actually tend to soften with time. That's one reason, a nice result of aging the wine. But really, I think it's a very, very balanced wine. So
yeah, the 2017 is coming on. This is a good time for it to be included in a kit. I think this is the right time to be consuming this wine right now.
yeah, it has a real nice density to it too. So I think this is a really nice example of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah, and then as far as food pairings go, the traditional Cab Sauv food pairing I think works really well for this. Dark meat, anything with a little bit of fat through it, that tannin that we were talking about really helps cut through it. You're going to accentuate both the flavor of the wine and the flavor of the food that you're eating. So if it was me, I'd go to my local butcher, I'd pick up a good steak, maybe in New York or something along those lines.
I just had some nice baseball cuts here the other night.
Perfect.
Oh man.
Delicious.
And guess what we had with it? Cabernet Sauvignon.
Great. Well, with that, we're concluding our wine tasting kits for you guys today. I'd like to remind you guys that if you enjoyed any of these wines, we've got plenty for sale. There's some QR codes on your tasting notes that'll take you to our web store. You can buy full bottles of it. Reminder that you can get free shipping. You can buy 6 bottles or more. And as a thank you for buying these kits and kind of doing this adventure with us, we're going to give you 10% off on any purchase that you make. And if you're interested in joining our wine club to get some more shipments in the future, please
What? 10% off?
I know, 10% off.
Oh gosh.
All right. Thank you very much, and enjoy your Helix at Home kit, guys. We appreciate you.
Thank you for joining us today. Take care, everyone.